is believing Buckeyes. Former All-10 Big Ten lineman Brian Browning here with All-American cornerback Chinny Chekwa. We had to have an emergency show, man. It was emergency. This was urgent, man. I don't know what's going on, but we got coaches jumping into the transfer portal, man. Like, what is going on, Chin? What's happening out there, man?
Yeah, it's been a obviously it was a terrible end to the college football season, and that team up north finishing the deal, getting the national champion. But the offseason
they might lose that though. Like it's some quotation marks on that, but
Yeah.
That's a whole nother show. But yeah, that's not what you had to have with me though. Yeah, man, show.
The offseason has been going relatively. I don't want to say perfect, but really good, right? Everything has been going good. Getting the right guys from the coaching staff, even with guys like Bill O'Brien not being able to fulfill his, coaching duties, getting Chip Kelly to replace him, getting guys in the transfer portal. Everything's been going good. It was going good because Michigan fans in my mentions, talking about everything. When Michigan fans are in your mentions, things are going good.
That's right.
And now this news that we got today, man, it's a little baffling to me.
Yeah, so our running backs coach, who's been here since 2015, so that's like 9 seasons. 9 seasons he's been with Ohio State. Ups and leaves the program. And spring ball has already started, and he doesn't just leave the program. He leaves the program to go to that team up north. He joins the Michigan Wolverines as their new running back coach, as their previous running back coach, who was a former player of theirs, Mike Hart. We know Mike Hart. He played against Mike Hart. Decided that he was no longer fill that role for Michigan, man. So it's very surprising, right? The timing of it, him making that call, is I don't think no one woke up expecting to see that in the headline.
The most surprising thing, one is when it happened, where he's going.
Yeah.
And then considering, who we have in the running back field as well. But another thing that's really surprising is that it's for the same job, right?
Yeah.
Like to do that for the same job, it makes me think like there has to be some more to it, right?
Yeah, it has to be. Right? Obviously everyone is speculating. Nothing is confirmed, right? Where coaches that don't go to the media usually bashing other coaches, especially on their own personnel. And obviously, Alfred leads the program. He has that nice write-up. Thank you, Ohio State, and everyone surrounding Ohio State, and Coach Day and Urban Meyer for bringing me in. And I think he shouted out to the city of Dublin for embracing his family, all those things. But yeah, obviously, there had to be some tension there, right? You just don't. The timing of it, you don't see schools like Ohio State lose a coach at this time unless it's a huge promotion. So for him to take that same job, it has to tell you that there's a couple things going on that it only makes sense. One, that there had to be some tension on that coaching staff between himself and the rest of the personnel, definitely pointing at Coach Ryan Day. Second, that there must have been something going on contract-wise with him, right? I don't know if he was expecting an extension this year. I don't know what his contract looked like, but I know he was paid well in the Big Ten, but something there, or, there must have been some friction in the air regarding job security as well to see him kind of make a move like that, right? It only makes sense, right?
Yeah, and especially a move there. When you think about it, typically when you're in a job for a long time, for a good amount of years, right? Either you're just comfortable in that position. If you are trying to continue to advance in your field in any way, shape, or form, you expect maybe a new title or a raise, etc. But a lot of times, if that's not happening, you got to go somewhere else to get it. And if you look at it from Tony Alford's perspective, so let me put myself in his shoes, right?
Right.
And now he didn't play for Ohio State. Obviously, he coached here for a decent amount of time, but he coached under Urban Meyer, right? Urban Meyer is who brought him on staff. He's really the only coach left, if I'm not mistaken. He might be the only coach left over from Urban Meyer's staff, right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't really picked by Ryan Day. And there's been the reports out there this offseason that he was one of the coaches that Ryan Day heavily considered replacing or whatever. So in his mind, he may not have felt of value. So when you don't feel valued, all bets are off in your mind, right? I'll go to the rival, right? But from a Buckeyes perspective, yeah, I just think it's a tough pill to swallow. Not that he left Ohio State, right?
Yeah,
Not that he
right.
left for a coaching job. Not even that he left for a job in the same position. It's just that he left for a job in the same position to go to the biggest rival, probably the biggest rivalry in college sports, probably the biggest rivalry in sports.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, right when I seen the news, I was a tad bit thrown back, right? I mean, I know Tony Alford in passing, right? Like, I never, sat down for Millwood, but in passing, from seeing him around the Woody or going to practice, things like that, he's a pretty solid guy, right? I mean, he's a good guy, right? He pays you attention, gives you some, shake your hand, nice to meet you type of guy. Follow his son on Instagram, him playing running back at Dublin Jerome and things of that nature. So, I have nothing personally bad to say about Tony Alford, but this move, lay out to Twitter. I'm tweeting like Tiki Barber at Shaquan Barkley, you're dead to me, and all that kind of stuff in a joking way. I got to the Lamar side of it, the way he was tweeting his players that was leaving the Ravens going to the Steelers. But it just you don't like to see it. And yeah, I mean, but obviously, like we say, it has to be more to it because for a running back, like he's been in that position, like you say, for the longest amount of time. Everyone is moving around him, right? We see Hartline getting off of the coordinator positions in the program, kind of turning it down and going back to receivers. You see all the promoting going on the defensive side of the ball with Tim Walden going up to assistant head coach. There's a lot of things of that nature. And basically, Frank, like, you hear rumors about Tony Alford maybe possibly, looking for a job. So, it's always a saying, right? It's always best to find a new job while you have a job, right? So he kind of took that standpoint of things, I guess, and moved on to a coach under Coach Moore with Michigan while he had the opportunity to.
So what this makes me think about though is this isn't completely unprecedented, but it kind of is a little bit, right? So if you go back in history, Ryan Day actually tapped Greg Madison and Al Washington, got them from Michigan to come coach at Ohio State.
They helped our defense out. Yeah, they helped out that year. Like, that was a solid year of defense when we had them on the staff, I would say.
And the little bit of difference, Greg Madison actually got a promotion, right? He got more money. He was co-defensive coordinator when he came here. Al Washington had some history with Ohio State. I think he had some ties to Ohio State. He actually was from Columbus, Ohio. I went to high school in the area. So there was a little bit of connection to Ohio State. If you go back to our playing days, right? This is not coach related, but player related, right?
Right.
Justin Bourne.
Yeah. Right. My guy,
at Michigan and came to Ohio State. Probably was one of the most hated Ohio State players during that time because of that, right? So not completely unprecedented, except again, Bourne was from the area, and the younger Zach was at Ohio State too. So it wasn't as crazy, but at the same time, this isn't completely unprecedented.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, obviously, Coach Alford made this move. Obviously, it's a bunch of rumors there on why he did what he did. You kind of could look at it the same way for Mike Hart with Michigan, right? I mean, it kind of feels like they was in a similar boat because now there's, Ohio State's trying to fill out, who's going to take his position. Obviously, names are being thrown around. They already said that Mike Hart most likely will get an interview here at Ohio State. But he's kind of in that same position, right? Michigan loses a ton of coaches, right? Guys are going left and right. Certain guys are getting promoted, but you didn't hear Mike Hart name catch a promotion and any of that. So he said, hey, I'll step away from the program and let Coach Moore do this thing up there. So now,
hold on. Hey. I don't want Mike Hart here. no, I got nothing. I got nothing against Mike Hart, and I think even for him, it might feel a little weird. It's different when you played. I don't know if there's another rivalry like this, but it's a little bit different when you played and you were like, a high level player. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're all-American level type player. You're a legendary type player at one of the schools. And then you coach at that school. And then considering going to the other one. It's like, imagine Brian Hartline or James Laurinaitis or Luke Fickell right?
Yeah.
Doing the interview at Michigan. It
It
doesn't
wouldn't happen, right?
it wouldn't happen.
It would.
But Mike Hart, I remember my redshirt freshman year, we played at Michigan. I came on a corner blitz. Thought I had a free run at the quarterback. Mike Hart took me out. Not only did he take me out, ear hold me, he stood over me and told me to get up. And then as I tried to get up, he pushed me back down. So listen.
He was part of that team with that like we're coming back till we got unfinished business and they lost Appalachian State.
I just want to make this clear. If they're gonna interview Mike Hart, I want to request to sit in on that interview. Listen, I got some stuff I need to let go before they even make that type of consideration. Otherwise, I'm gonna have some issues with it. But shout out to Mike Hart. I think his leaving of Michigan led to Tony Alford replacing him. And there's something to be said about that running back position, where Mike Hart, who is pretty much a Michigan legend. I think he might still be the all-time leading rusher there. Mm-hmm. Felt like, he wasn't getting enough or whatever. He wasn't getting the opportunities necessary, and he ended up leaving, right?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, that's it's tough for running back coach. I mean, we kind of was talking about it before the show, but, I mean, just historically, you look at running back coaches, and a lot of times you just kind of get the feeling that, that running back coaches are running back coaches. Like, you usually don't see them get a ton of promotions up to that, that OC position or going over to head coach. I mean, we'll throw some names out there, like Deuce Staley in the NFL, right? He always is bringing, like, oh, he's going to come in for an interview, and obviously, like, he never gets the job. He always just lands as a running back position coach somewhere else. Eric Bellamy, he's historically known as a running back coach. And he's like, oh, all these people are passing him up to be a head coach. They're like, well, he's not actually the offensive coordinator at the Chiefs to get an OC job. And now he does that for a year. Now he's back in college football. So, I mean, it's kind of tough for running back coaches. It seems like they kind of be able to get that notoriety to get bumped up. And it seems like maybe Coach Alfred was in that same boat. But we'll see. We'll see how things go for him in the future. But also, we got a role to fill, right? Now, Ohio State has a role to fill here in springboard to kind of fill in that position of running back coach. And obviously, people are tweeting and throwing names out there. They came out with a list on, this is on 11 Warriors, a guy could potentially take that job. And I feel like the names that stand out to me most is Stan Drayton. So you know him. He's another former Ohio State coach. He went on to be he got all the way up to the head coach at Temple. So he kind of broke through that running back position room and got all the way to the head coach at Temple and may be able to be brought in. Scotty Graham, who's used to play running back here at Ohio State. Eddie George, obviously he's the head coach down at Tennessee State. And Pepe Pearson, who's the running back coach at Tennessee State for Eddie George. So yeah, I mean, good bunch of guys. I think that's someone we could definitely make a splash hire more or less and get in that role filled. Do you have a favorite out of that list that you would love to see kind of plug into that spot or that you can kind of speak to?
Yeah, obviously Eddie would be my favorite. I think you Tim May came out.
Yeah, Tim May came out.
Yeah, he talked to Eddie. He said he's not really looking to take that position. But if Eddie's out of the way, I would say Scotty Graham. I know Scotty just from meeting him as him coming back to Ohio State as a former player. He's a former captain at Ohio State. Currently running backs coach at Arizona. He had an AD role out there at Arizona as well prior to being running backs coach. So obviously he understands more than just the running back position. He understands just the way the whole operation works. He's just a good guy. And he's somebody I reached out a few times to get advice about certain situations, certain things. So he would be number one on my list. I don't know a lot about the other guys, but yeah, Scotty. I already made my pitch on Twitter. I'm not sure if he saw it or not. I'm gonna slide in his DMs. Make another pitch. So hopefully there's some strong consideration there. But this has to be one of the highly coveted. If you're looking for a running backs coaching job, it's got to be one of the most highly coveted positions in the nation. So you're gonna, obviously they're gonna pay well, but outside of that, I mean, you're looking at an opportunity to coach a great running backfield against inside of a really good scheme, inside a great program. So I expect that a lot of coaches, a lot of the highly desired coaches are going to be interested in this position.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, right? I mean, you coming in, you come out the gate, you're coaching Travion Henderson and Christian Judkins, and then Dalen Hayden as well. So I mean, like, yeah, that running back room I obviously know is probably with the top two. I mean, I don't know how many teams in the nation could compete with that. So you would think that that position will go to someone that's willing to kind of come in, fit that role, and just kind of coach these guys to success, like you say, in this new scheme that we'll be putting in under Chip Kelly. So yeah, looking forward to it. But I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I was like I said, it was an emergency show. Kind of get this off our chest. 'Cause, I mean, this is just a strange outing to take place, but obviously this is Ohio State. We will land on our feet. I'm looking to upgrade the position, right? I'm not looking to just get a guy in there. Let's upgrade that position and get someone in that can really help our team out with some leadership, with some knowledge, with some ability, with some passion for the role and what needs to take place there. So looking forward to see how we kind of patch up that gap. Now we'll have to say this though. I mean, sorry, Tim, go ahead because I got to.
No, I was saying this might be an opportunity to bring somebody back that has some Ohio State ties. I'm not going to be discriminatory to say like if you don't have no ties to Ohio State, I don't want you. But I think this is a real opportunity to bring in a guy who isn't leaving Ohio State in the spring after things have already started to go to that team up north, right? So there's an opportunity to bolster up our recruiting efforts, bring in somebody who is cut from the Ohio State cloth. Again, I'm still making my pitch to Scotty Graham here. I don't know if he watches the show, but yeah, I think this is a real
But he
opportunity.
should. Right.
I don't like the news because of who it is, because of where he went. But I do think there's a real opportunity here to bolster that coaching staff a little bit more.
That's right. And, as we know, recruiting is important, and under times of Ohio State, I mean, we've been going for like the 4 or 5 star guys that we're getting. So whoever comes in has to be able to recruit. But like I said, if we get a former Ohio State great, I mean, who's better to recruit than a guy like that? That's for sure. But yeah, and one more thing before we end the show, I got to say this. All right, so obviously things have not been going Ohio State's way in the game. In the big rivalry game against Michigan. Currently, we're down 3 in a row. Tony Alford has lost 3 in a row. I just know next year in 2024, Tony Alford better has lost that game 4 times in a row, and that's what I care about the most.
Exactly.
That's for sure. That's our show. Exactly. But that's our show. In all our shows, still with an OH.
IO.
And the Go Bucks, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Go Bucks. You want to be running back coach?
Nah, man. I'm more about double teams, man.
All right.